Welcome back to The Explainer. So we hear a lot about artificial intelligence these days, right? But today, we're tackling a massive, fundamental shift in the tech landscape. We're going to break down exactly what Agentic AI is and why it's about to completely change the way we work, how we manage, and how we scale businesses. Let's just dive right into it. Think about this for a second. What if AI could actually do your job rather than just answering your questions? Seriously, imagine you need to prepare for an employee going on leave. Instead of you sitting there drafting out an email, what if an AI independently logs into your HR system, applies for the vacation days, figures out and schedules the necessary coverage, and then sends out all the calendar invites to the team? Literally all on its own. That's the profound leap we're talking about today.
So, to really understand this, we need to look beyond the simple chatbot.
We really have to change our mental model here because the core difference is huge. Traditional generative AI, it's fundamentally reactive. It's essentially an advanced Q&A tool. You ask it a question, and it generates some text or an image. But Agentic AI is proactive. You don't just ask it to draft a response, you give it a complex goal, and it executes a complete, multi-step workflow to actually achieve that goal. Basically, generative AI is like a really smart encyclopedia, whereas Agentic AI, that's an autonomous digital employee.
Okay, so what exactly is Agentic AI? Let's ground this in reality.
Let's say your broad goal is to onboard a new intern who's starting next Monday. A traditional chatbot simply cannot do this for you. But an AI agent? It uses multi-step reasoning. Step 1, it plans out the need for a welcome meeting and actually fires off the calendar invites via Outlook. Step 2, it connects to your HR management system and provisions a Slack profile. Step 3, it autonomously opens a ticket in your IT help desk to order a new laptop. You see, it figures out the required steps and then it executes them directly inside your software.
If we look at research from MIT Sloan and IBM, they define Agentic AI as autonomous software systems that perceive, reason, and act in digital environments to achieve goals with minimal human supervision. Now, the absolute crucial words there are autonomous and act. These systems have real agency. In fact, MIT researchers point out that these agents can even engage in economic transactions, interact strategically with each other, and function as these really powerful components inside larger enterprise workflows.
Which brings us to the next big question. How do AI agents actually work?
How does this magic actually happen under the hood? Well, it all comes down to this continuous core loop outlined by Google Cloud. First up is perception. The AI gathers data from its environment, like reading an incoming email. Second is reasoning. It uses a large language model, kind of like its brain, to understand the context. Third is planning, setting goals and breaking them down into bite-sized steps. Fourth is execution, actually taking the action by interacting with an outside system. And finally, number 5, reflection. It evaluates the outcome, gathers feedback, and literally learns to improve its future decisions. It is a dynamic, non-stop loop.
But to pull that off, the agent needs a tool belt. It relies heavily on APIs, which are basically digital bridges to talk directly to other software, whether that's Jira, Salesforce, whatever. It also has web search access to pull real-time info. It can securely query your databases, and this is vital. It has memory and context tracking. So if an agent is acting as, say, a travel assistant, it remembers your previous conversations, it knows your budget constraints, it remembers you prefer sunny weather, and it seamlessly carries all that context from one task to the next.
Now, let's look at some real-world business examples.
I know you might be thinking, come on, is this just theoretical? No way. Massive enterprises are deploying these multi-agent systems right now. In finance, you've got companies like JP Morgan exploring AI agents to automate complex loan approvals and detect fraud, which dramatically cuts down manual review time. In retail, Walmart is leveraging them for massive merchandise planning and inventory optimization. And in software, platforms like Replit and Lovable are letting developers deploy agents that autonomously write code, execute it, spot their own bugs, and fix them. And the best part? These agents don't get tired, they never clock out.
But of course, we have to talk about the risks and challenges.
Because with massive economic potential comes an equally massive set of risks. MIT Sloan professor Kate Kellogg found something super fascinating here. Her team studied the implementation of an AI agent for healthcare, and they found that 80% of the work was consumed by unglamorous tasks associated with data engineering, stakeholder alignment, governance, and workflow integration. Let me translate that. Implementing Agentic AI is way less about having the coolest prompt engineering and much, much more about the grueling work of structuring your messy corporate data and setting up strict regulatory controls. And look, if you skip that grueling governance work, you are facing severe risks. First is something called reward hacking. This is when an AI exploits loopholes just to hit a target. Imagine a warehouse robot optimizing for speed, but it ends up damaging products just to move faster. Not great. Second, giving AI autonomous control over your APIs opens up major cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Third, you've got irregular reliability, like a rogue AI rejecting a perfectly valid mortgage application because of a hallucination. Fourth, in a multi-agent system, one agent's tiny error can cascade and crash an entire workflow. All of this points to one non-negotiable reality. You absolutely need human-in-the-loop oversight. You cannot just set it and forget it.
Which brings us to our final section, the future of work.
Knowing the incredible power and the serious risks, where does that leave us? Well, 35%. That number right there should be your ultimate wake-up call. According to a survey by MIT Sloan and Boston Consulting Group, 35% of respondents had already adopted AI agents by 2023, and another 44% were actively planning to deploy them shortly. So this isn't some futuristic concept waiting in the wings. It is happening right now.
So I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to chew on. Are you preparing to just use AI as a tool, or are you preparing to manage a team of AI agents? Because honestly, in the very near future, your value as a professional isn't just going to be in how well you execute your daily tasks. It's going to be in how effectively you can orchestrate, govern, and lead an autonomous digital workforce. Think about that as you look at your own workflows this week. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and as always, keep learning.